Hello, I'm Daniela, and welcome to the final video in the Stitch With Me in 2023 online workshop. In today's video, I'll show you how I assemble the book, how I take all my prompts, little cards that I attach to the back that explain the prompts, and I bind them into a single book. This has been a really fun project, and I really enjoy having all my prompts together. So let's get started. So here are all my prompts from the Stitch With Me in 2023. I have them each on an index card. Now what I decided to do, this is an optional step, is I have my cards, all 12 of them, then I have my spine, which I showed how to create, and all the holes are punched to align with those cards. Now in the sample, this is the end result, and it looks really nice and neat. However, when I created my cards, they're not flat. Some have a lot of dimension, like this one. It's quite a thick card. And others are fairly flat, but I do like texture. So that's why I had to come up with a modified version. I'm still going to use my spine and all of my cards. I created a cover. I just took another 3x5 card and cut the holes just like on the card. And then I just stitched this cover piece to it. I might write the date on the cover, but it's not necessary for me. Now before I take out my spine and sort how I want all of my prompts to go in, I wanted to address each of the prompts. So on the back, I printed out the prompt. Sometimes I printed out the definition, and then my version of it, like why I chose to do that prompt. I printed them all onto a piece of cardstock. And now I'll just cut each one of them out and adhere them to the back of each one of these prompts. So for my August for ring, I'll attach the prompt explanation to the back. So when I have my page bound in my book, it'll flip up like this. And I want to take my prompt explanation and attach it this way. So it's not flipped over, it'll be flipped up. So I'll attach all of them to the back of the pages. So I have all the cards with the tags on the back upside down, and each of the tags on the back are 3 by 4 inches, and that way there's plenty of room for that little area here for the spine. So now I'm ready to start organizing them on the spine. I have my spine, and if I open it up, each one of these has a slot where I can slide in one of the prompts. So I'll start with the first one, and the second one. Now I like to do these one at a time. My first one is fairly flat, so I'm okay with that. I'll stick my cover eventually right on top, not inside, but just on top. And the second one is starting to build up a little depth. So on the third one, not only do I have my card, but I cut out some little cardboard pieces that will fit nicely inside here. And that just gives a little buffer. So I can slide my prompt in here and have that cardboard piece, and that just raises it just a little bit. So from now on, whenever there's a little bit of a dimensional card, I'll slip in my piece. Sometimes I just have to play with it to make sure it's in the right configuration. And then I can put my prompt right in there as well. And I'll do this going throughout all of them. If there's any that are particularly flat, I don't have to use that little cardboard piece. But I like to make sure they're all spaced nicely and they're not crunched and they fit well together. And then I can put my last card in. I want to make sure everything lines up, so I'm taking just a little crochet hook or a knitting tool, and I just want to go through all of those holes to make sure it lines up. You can use a bamboo skewer as well. So far it's looking good. Just takes a moment to make sure I have all my pages lined up properly. And then I'll come back in here with the bamboo skewer on the other side. And it just takes a little finagling. So I have front of the book and the back. So my book is lining up nicely. If you want to put something on the back, you can use just another 3x5 card. I'm using just a piece of cardboard that I cut to be 3x5, and I'll slide it down here just like this, and it gives just a little bit of bulk to my book, a little support. So now I still have my knitting needle and my bamboo skewer in. I just want to make sure everything stays where it's supposed to. And I have some thread to bind the book. I attached about 4 lengths of the length of the book just to a needle here. This is an upholstery needle, so it's a large-eyed needle. I don't need it to be sharp. I just need it to be able to guide that thread through the book. And I'm going to start on one side here. I'm going to start with my bamboo skewer. If there's room to maneuver the needle in with the bamboo skewer, that's all the better. If not, I'll have to take out the skewer and just put that needle in. And then when I pull it, I leave a good length tail, maybe 4 to 6 inches. Again, I'm trying to line up my pages. So I'm going to take my thread. I have my tail at the back of the book. I'm going to go around the side, go back through that hole from the back of the book to the front. Pull my thread, trying to avoid getting around the other needle, and hold it on the side here. Again, the first few strands are a little finicky, so you just hold that tail and pull it down, and then I'm going to come back behind the book on the spine, come up again through all those pages, and it just takes a moment. And so now I have the tail holding 2 corners here, one side and then the other. I'm going to pull that tail in the back taut, come up here, and then with my thread, I'm going to thread around here and just knot it in place. Do a double knot. Going underneath everything. And then through. I want to make sure that's very secure. I'll knot it one more time. And then I'm going to come up through that same area again, right to the front of the book. Pulling that thread taut. And now I'm going to take my thread and go into the hole with the knitting needle. And again, if there's not room, I'll slide the knitting needle out, thread my needle all the way through. I'm coming around the book, down through that hole again. So now my thread is on the side, coming around through the back. And now I want to go back down twice more on each of those holes. So twice here, around the side, come back down again for a third pass and around. And then I'm going to come back from behind, go through that hole on the right again, through my book, over and under one more time. And then there should be enough thread to pull it to the side on the back with it still through the needle. And knot that thread one more time, just so it's not going anywhere. And you want to keep that knot on the back of the book very close to that hole, because that's where we're going to tuck it when we're done. So I'll knot it a couple of times. You can add a dab of glue if you'd like. I'm going to clip that thread maybe an inch or so, and then with my knitting tool, just going to poke it through that hole. So now I have my book. When I open my book, I open it this way since that's the format, and all my prompts and their explanation are there. So I'm very pleased with the way this book came out. I love having all my prompts together, and they're secured in a nice little book. This is the book from the side. So that's the conclusion of the Stitch With Me in 2023 online workshop. I hope you've enjoyed these techniques and these little challenges. I certainly have. I will be creating a Stitch With Me in 2024, or Stitch Some More in 2024. The group on Facebook will just roll over. I'll have a video coming out in a few weeks that give a little information about next year's prompts. Thanks for joining me today.